We're the radio show that goes from 0 to 300 in 5.2 seconds. Hang on. It's about to get crazy. The show starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
That's me, Tiberius.
And welcome to the Tiberius Show today. And I'm your host, Tiberius Boy. And as always, we're looking at various jobs and how they affect the world around us. Today's guest is going to be very interesting. We're going to talk to a physical therapist. Do you have any idea what a physical therapist does? Well, neither do I, but let's find out. Let me introduce our next guest, the one, the only, the amazing, Tara Gibson. Thank you for being on the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
No problem. Okay, so you are listed as a physical therapist. For my listeners that have no idea what that means, can you explain it to us?
Sure. I often tell people that I am a professional people mover. So I help people who have an illness or an injury. But the field of physical therapy is pretty broad. A physical therapist might work with children. Sometimes babies when they are born, especially if they're born too early, they might need a little physical therapy in the hospital. Or, like I said, children, maybe they're born with a problem, or maybe they get an injury when they're little and they go see a physical therapist to help with that. Someone in the hospital, an older person that has had a surgery or just an illness that has had them in the hospital several days, they might need physical therapy while they're in the hospital. I am a neurological physical therapist. So, and I work in an outpatient setting, so I work in a clinic. Patients come to see me.
Okay.
But my patients have all had, maybe they've had a stroke, they've had a brain injury, or they have a chronic condition like multiple sclerosis or Parkinson's disease. So I help people who have problems with their brain and nervous system, and it's affecting how they move around.
Okay. So what's the difference between a normal therapist and a physical therapist?
What would you mean by a normal therapist?
Like, one that I have that talks to me and asks, like, what's happening.
Oh, okay. So like a counselor type of a therapist. Okay. So as a physical therapist, sometimes I need some of those counseling or psychology type techniques. But my focus is more on moving the body. Maybe your injury is a problem with an elbow or a knee, difficulty walking.
Yeah, knee.
Yeah. So you've never had physical therapy?
No.
Well, good. That means you haven't been seriously injured.
Yeah, seriously. Well, when did you know that this was the profession for you?
Oh, goodness. So I am one of those weirdos that I knew what I wanted to do when I was young.
Really?
Most people kind of figure it out when they're in college, or some people even go to college and get a degree, and then later they figure out that they want to be a physical therapist. But I was about 10 years old.
Wow. That's wild.
I was watching a movie with my mom, and in the movie, one of the main characters broke both of her legs in a horse riding accident.
Ow.
And in the movie, she had to relearn how to walk. And they showed a physical therapist helping her regain her ability to walk. And I saw that on the movie, and I said, that's what I want to do.
Huh. That's cool. I like that. Well, does it take a lot of training to do this job?
It actually does. When I graduated with my degree, it was a master's degree, but now the physical therapists graduate with what's known as a doctorate of physical therapy. So they go through high school, Then they go through college and get a bachelor's degree of some sort, usually in a science field. Maybe they get a bachelor's degree of biology or kinesiology, which is just movement. And then you go on to graduate school. So it's about 7 years of college.
That's half the time I've been here in the world. But what are the types of tasks that you have to do every day?
Well, so most of the patients that come see me have a problem with walking or with their balance. So that's what I do. But any physical therapist is going to spend a lot of their day helping patients exercise in some form or fashion.
That makes sense. So, what's the best part about being a physical therapist?
The best part is helping people improve. They come in and they tell me that they have some activity in their life that they can't do very well. And then we work with them, and in ideal situations, they regain that ability. So that's probably the best part. Especially like someone that has a stroke. If it's a pretty severe stroke, they may be in a wheelchair for a time and not able to walk.
That's not good.
But if they're able to heal and regain the ability to walk, it's quite amazing just to watch them achieve that.
Okay. Now, here seems like a good time to take a quick commercial break. Let's hear a word from our sponsors.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank Boggy Creek Airboat Adventures for being one of our sponsors. I got to go on an airboat and saw a real gator. I even got to go to the gem mine and mine for some gems. We ate a steak dinner at the restaurant and even got some gator bites. If you want to have a blast with the entire family, I suggest you go to www.bcairboats.com right now. Get your tickets today. The website again is bcairboats.com.
And we are back here talking with Tara Gibson, and she is a physical therapist. Tara, do you still see patients every day?
I do. I work full-time, 40 hours a week, and I see between 40 and 50 patients a week.
Whoa. So that's about 1 to 2 patients per hour.
Almost.
Okay. Well, what's your approach to meet the needs and goals of each patient you work with?
Well, first I have to find out what's important to them. Why are you here? Why do you need physical therapy? What is it that you can't do that you're wanting us to help you with?
Okay.
So I start with what the patient wants to focus on.
I see. Well, can you give me some examples?
Sure. Just today, I met a man who had a stroke several years ago, actually, and it has made his ankle tight and his knee doesn't work very well, but he wants to work on walking. So we did some things today where I did some stretching with him to help stretch out his leg. He has a hard time putting his foot flat to the floor.
I see.
And we did some walking with a walker that has wheels, so it's a device that he can hold on to support himself. Kind of like crutches, only all one piece instead of separate moving parts. And we walked around. He's not quite on his own just yet, but getting stronger.
It's getting there. But what's the most misunderstood part about being a physical therapist?
Oh, goodness. Everybody comes to us and they ask for a massage. When I say I'm a physical therapist, if I'm at a party, somebody is bound to tell me about their back that hurts or ask if I want to massage their shoulders. And we might do some techniques that are similar to massage, but physical therapists don't give massages.
I'm guessing it gets annoying. After a while.
Absolutely.
So, can you tell me what elements makes for a good therapist?
You've got to like being around people, because you are going to meet people from all walks of life, and unfortunately, you're probably meeting them on not their best day. You know, they're in pain. They have an injury. They've been sick.
So, always be nice, basically.
Yes.
So, what advice would you give to someone considering pursuing a career in physical therapy?
Well, I would say to really pay attention in your math and science classes. The science classes are the foundation for everything that you'll learn in physical therapy school.
Okay.
So someone who doesn't like biology or chemistry, maybe physical therapy is something that you don't want to put high on your list.
Yeah. So, how do you believe the work of physical therapists contributes to making the world a better place?
Well, I believe that we help people regain their lost abilities. We help them recover from an injury so that they can get back to doing the things they like to do.
So they can reuse the ability that they had before.
Yeah, if their favorite thing to do is play tennis and their injury is preventing them from playing tennis, then
Like
we work
tearing
on
of a
fixing
UCL, that would do it.
that. Yeah.
Well, can you share a memorable success story from your experience as a physical therapist?
Let me think about that for a minute, because there's been several.
You got time.
Yeah. There was a young mom who she had the unfortunate experience of experiencing what's known as a brain bleed. She was involved in an accident, and then it caused the blood vessel to rupture. When I first met her, she was scared that she would always have to live life in a wheelchair. And living life in a wheelchair is not the worst thing in the world, because a wheelchair does give you ability to get around if you can't get up and walk. But with having young children, she wanted to be able to play with them.
That makes sense.
And so through a lot of time and effort and hard work, she was able to regain the ability to walk with a cane, so still with a little bit of help.
Yeah, with a little bit of help, but still got back.
But it was so amazing to watch her face when she realized that she could do it, because she didn't think she would be able to.
Really?
And so that was exciting.
What was the craziest thing that has happened while you were doing your passion?
Oh, I have some stories. Trying to think about which ones are the ones most appropriate for young listeners.
Okay.
Well, for a number of years, I did home health physical therapy where I visited people in their homes. And so that's really neat because you get to see their environment and where they're living their lives and kind of figure out what are the barriers.
Like, what should they work on?
Yeah. So, if they tell you that they can't walk around their house or they have a hard time walking in the yard, you actually get to practice it with them.
Yeah.
So one time I was visiting this lady, and she wanted to take me for a walk around the yard to show me her garden. And she's over here showing me, well, here's these flowers, and then here's the vegetables. And we kept walking around. And then we got to a part of the garden she didn't actually intend to take me because there were some illegal plants in that garden. And so she said, oh, and here's then she said, nope, let's keep walking. And we had to keep going. So that was a bit of a, crazy experience.
Huh. Well, if someone wanted to work to be healthier and avoid going to the physical therapist, what changes are they looking to doing?
Definitely you want to be involved in regular exercise. You want to keep your muscles and bones in nice, strong shape. You want to stay in good cardiovascular fitness.
Okay. Well, what type of injuries would a patient need in order to require your services, basically?
I mean, any injury that involves muscle or bone or joints. But at the same time, we're working on, we're helping people recover from COVID still.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Some people have had injuries that aren't as obvious. Talking about just being mentally tired, as in addition to being physically tired. Some people are dizzy ever since they had COVID. So we are doing all kinds of therapy to help people with all kinds of different injuries. So it's really hard to nail down what specific injury.
Since COVID.
Yes.
That's a long time.
Yeah, some people, like I said, some people got COVID and it was kind of like having a cold or the flu. And then some people had COVID and then they've had a longer experience of the after effects of it.
Having to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
So, who can you say was the person who helped drive your passion the most?
That's interesting. I think when I first decided that I was interested in physical therapy, I scheduled some volunteer hours with a local physical therapist. And then when I was in college, I got a part-time job working at a hospital, helping out with the physical therapist. And so all those different therapists that I got to learn under, they just fueled my interest.
Huh.
And they also helped me prepare to go to physical therapy school. They helped me figure out what I needed to do. They helped me practice interviewing for school. Cool. Yeah, it was great.
So, what advice would you give to my listeners if they wanted to grow up and be in the physical therapy field?
Definitely work hard in your math and science classes. But you also need to be a pretty good writer as well, because you have to write down the things you did. That way you remember next time when you see them. And get some exposure to things in the medical world.
Okay.
Ask if you can shadow a therapist for a day or even just a couple of hours.
Cool. Well, what is the best advice that you've ever received?
Okay. So there was a physical therapist that I met when I was in high school, and he let me do some volunteer hours with him. And he told me if I could learn a little bit about almost everything, it would help me to be able to carry on a conversation with anybody. So
that is true. Holy cow, that's a good point.
Yeah, so
I should work on that.
So yeah, just meeting people that do a variety of different things, which your podcast that you're doing here is perfect for that. Because you're meeting people that do different kinds of work. Yeah. And even if you meet someone that does something a little different, you can go, oh wait, but I've heard of something similar to that.
So I can make more questions based off of both of it and have it work.
Yeah.
So what's the very first job that you've ever had?
Ever?
Ever. First paying job.
My first paying job was working in a hardware/farm supply store.
Huh. Okay, well, was there anything you learned from that job that helped you be a better physical therapist?
That's a good question. Definitely the people skills. Because I had to deal with customers. Sometimes it was sweet little old ladies who were buying 50-pound bags of dog food to take home, and I would have to carry it out to their car. So definitely learned some lifting techniques there.
Yeah. Okay, that one's just funny. But what message do you want to tell children all over the world about doing the work that you do?
It's extremely rewarding to help people in their time of need, whether they're recovering from an illness or whether they want to get back to playing a sport. Physical therapy is just an excellent field, and it gives you lots of opportunities to work with lots of people, all age groups, all settings. It's an awesome field to work in. Okay, well, on that note, let's take a quick break to pay some bills.
Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties. Contact Lighthouse Central Florida at or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
And we are back here with Tara Gibson, and she's a physical therapist. So, what are the most common misconceptions people have about physical therapy?
So, a lot of times people think that they are going to go to physical therapy and they're going to do the exercises while they're there at the clinic, and then that's all they have to do to get better. But the reality is, I'm going to give you some homework. I'm going to give you some exercises that I want you to work on at home, and it's your job to do those at home to enhance the things that we're doing in the clinic. Just coming to the clinic is not going to be enough.
It's just like school over again. Oh, goodness.
Afraid so.
Well, can a physical therapist provide preventative care to help people without an injury?
Absolutely. We can do screenings to determine where your weak areas might be so that you can work on those areas to avoid an injury.
Like your Achilles heel.
Sure. We do education. I wish we did more preventative care. Healthcare in the United States is starting to move that direction a little bit, but it's a slow movement. But absolutely, we try to educate people as much as possible on how to avoid that injury in the future if they've already had one.
Mm-hmm. Well, what was the coolest thing that happened in the session?
I think it's just those times when a patient comes to me thinking that their illness or injury has taken away something that they love doing, and when they realize that they can do it. I think back several years ago to a patient that unfortunately he sustained a spinal cord injury that left him partially paralyzed, and he loved to go fishing, and he thought he was never going to be able to fish again. And he didn't fully recover all of his strength, but we were able to help him learn a new way to fish. We put some adaptations on the fishing rod, attached it to his wheelchair, and now he has made a career out of teaching other people how to do adapted fishing.
Cool. Okay, that's actually kind of cool. But if you could go back 10 years and tell yourself something, what would it be?
10 years. I have to think where I was 10 years ago. So I was in a small rural town, and I kind of thought that was just where I was going to be for the rest of my career. And there's nothing wrong with small towns, but to do the kind of physical therapy that I really like to do, which is the neurological physical therapy, it's better to be in a large city. There's like this one. There's just more access to people with those kinds of injuries that are seeking care.
Yeah.
And so definitely I would go tell 10 years ago me that, hang on, you're going to be back in a big city and doing the thing you love.
Well, what's the biggest mistake that you ever made? And how did it change as a person?
Ooh, the biggest mistake. I would say one of the biggest mistakes I ever made was underestimating someone's ability.
Really?
Sometimes you see this large injury and you just think, okay, they'll get back some of their ability, but there's no way they'll really come back from this. But some people are extra determined, and they just need the right push in the right direction. And so I have learned to aim big, set a big goal that I'm not sure they can meet, and let's see if we can work hard to get there.
Bid high. So, when you're not working, what do you do for fun?
Well, a lot of my time is taken up with following around my two children and their sporting activities. Natalie's a freshman in high school, and she's on the rowing team, and so that's a big time commitment, but it's fun to watch her row. And then Isaac is a 6th grader, and he plays soccer and basketball. But when I am not chasing them around, you can probably find me at one of the Disney World parks.
Yeah, that was a different way to go. Huh. I didn't expect that. When you're not at work, go to Disney World. Anyways, so do you play video games?
Some of them.
What's your favorite one?
Well, I'm a puzzle gamer, so Tetris is my favorite.
Tetris is fun.
I can play the old school one. I still have my 8-bit NES gaming system. But I also like the newer Tetris that I cannot remember the full name of, but it's a little trippy. It has crazy backgrounds to
I can't.
throw you off.
I need the basic black background. I need that.
So the fun thing on the new Tetris, you can go into battle mode, so you can have 2-player.
Oh goodness.
I love it. My family can't.
I
beat
would
me.
want to do that. Okay, so what is your favorite book to read?
My favorite book to read. I enjoy novels, something light, because my work is so technical and I spend time reading, research articles and journals and things. I like to just relax with just a light novel. I like historical fiction that's written around World War II era.
Okay. Now, can you tell me that one story? Remember, this is a kid's show. That one story, that you're not supposed to tell me about. Come on, you can tell me.
Well, one time, this was when I was doing physical therapy, going into people's homes. I had an older couple. They were retired for many years. And I called on them kind of early in the morning and said, hey, I know our appointment is later, but I've had some cancellations. I'm already on your street. Is it okay if I come on now? And the gentleman said, sure. Is it okay if we're still in our pajamas? And me, not thinking anything about it, thought, sure, what could go wrong with that? That should be fine.
Yeah.
I should have asked them what kind of pajamas they slept in.
Oh goodness, why?
The gentleman's pajamas just were not adequately covering him up.
Okay. I can see why that's kind of embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you think my listeners should know about you and what you do?
Yes. If anyone is considering a career in healthcare, physical therapy is a great option because you are not going to be in school the length of time that it takes to become a doctor. But at the same time, you're going to be in a rewarding career with lots of opportunities. I have physical therapy students that come and practice with me when they are going to school. And I tell them all that if you graduate physical therapy school and you get out there in a job and you don't like it, you didn't choose the wrong career. You're just in the wrong job and you need to find a different way, a different place to do physical therapy.
I see. So, do you have a Facebook or website for my listeners who want to follow you?
Facebook's probably not the best place to follow me as a physical therapist. I do more stuff with my family on there. But I do have Instagram, and it's T Gibby, Gibby 212.
Huh. Okay, so what is that one question that you think I forgot to ask you?
You didn't ask me my favorite basketball team?
What is it?
University of Kentucky Wildcats.
Okay. Well, thank you, Tara, for being my special guest. Can you stick around for Math Corners?
Why not?
Okay.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
And now it's time for Math Corners. Thank you so much, Tara, for helping me with Math Corners. This week, we're going to do some more multi-step word problems. My dad is always good at finding new problems for me to solve, and today, we're going to talk about pi, and of course, the other number pi. Now, Emma is baking a delicious pie for her family gathering. She decides to make a circular pie with a diameter of 12 inches. If she cuts the pie into 8 equal slices, what's the area of each slice, rounded to the nearest hundredth? Assume pi is approximately 3.14, and it's also my favorite number, and I wrote this one during Pi Day.
So you want me to solve the problem?
I gotcha.
Well, I mean, we can talk this out.
Well, first, this is a world problem, because, well, people like making pies for families, which is always nice. I mean, it's fun. Well, first, let's find the radius of the pie. So the radius is half the diameter, so radius r is r equals 12 divided by 2, which is 6, so 6 inches. Now, let's find the area of the entire circular pie using the formula a equals pi r squared. So 3.14 times 6 squared, which is 36. 3.14 times 36 is 113.04 square inches. So, since Emma cuts the pie into 8 equal slices, each slice represents an eighth of the total area of the pie. To find the area of each slice, we divide the total of area by the pie by 8, which is 113 divided by 0.4 divided by 8 equals around 14.13 square inches. So, the area of each slice of pie rounded to the nearest hundredth is approximately 14.13 square inches.
Excellent.
So, Tara, how do you really care about the area of a pie? I mean, I guess you could put more toppings on it, right? Oh, wait, no, it's pizza.
I can't say I've ever worried about calculating the area of my slice of pie as long as it's plenty to fill my belly.
Well, my teacher said that I would use math every day. What's the most common way that you use math in your work?
Well, so in my work, one of the things that's really important is called goniometry. I use a special protractor that measures angles. And so let's say someone had knee surgery, like you mentioned ACL tear earlier. So let's say an athlete has an ACL tear and then they have surgery to repair it. Well, now they've got to get their range of motion back so that they can run and jump and, play their sport. So I'm going to use my special protractor called a goniometer to measure what angle they're bending their knee to. Because normal range of motion of the knee
Use 180.
It'll bend. Most people can bend their knee 120 to 130 degrees. You can get to 140 if you're really not muscular.
My teacher said that I would use math every day. What's the most common way that you use math in your work?
Well, in physical therapy, one of the most common tools we use is called a goniometer. It is a special protractor that measures angles, and we use it to measure the angles of body parts. So let's say that someone has a knee injury, like an ACL injury, and they get surgery to fix it. Well, now they've got to regain the use of their leg, and they're going to have to get their motion back in their knee. And so I'm going to use that fancy protractor that I call a goniometer to measure how much they are bending their knee. Normal range of motion for the knee is at least 120 degrees of flexion. Some people can bend up to 130, 135, and if you're really not muscular, maybe you'll get to 140.
Huh. Thank you so much, Tara, for your help with Math Corners.
Thanks, it was fun.
And now it's time for the Heart of the Lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living by the Heart of the Lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility. This week, we're going to talk about integrity. For me, I think integrity is doing what is right, even when no one else is looking. The qualities of integrity is honesty, sincerity, truthfulness, and fairness. Well, this week I was playing a game with Cash, my friend, who loves playing video games at home. Well, while playing his favorite game, he stumbled upon a puzzle involving the number pi. He really wanted to search for the answer online, but Cash remembered integrity, so he decided to solve it on his own. He grabbed a pen and paper. Yes, he really did this. And with each slice of pizza that he was eating, he calculated the dishes of pie. And as he delved deeper into the puzzle, Cash realized that honesty was the right thing to do. And in the end, not only did he crack the code of the game, he also learned the value of integrity, both in gaming and real life, and was very proud of himself afterwards. It took him 3 hours, but it worked. So, Tara, did you see or use integrity at all this week?
Absolutely. So there is a business side to what I do. In addition to helping people, I do have to get paid for it. The company I work for has to get paid. So integrity for me looks like appropriately billing patients for the services we've provided, making sure that I'm not charging them more than what they received.
I see. Well, of all of the Heart of Lion virtues, which is the one that you see the most?
Integrity definitely comes to play the most, I would say.
Well, we should always try to be lion strong in everything we do, shouldn't we?
Absolutely.
And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing Tara Gibson for being on my show. It has been so much fun talking to you today. I think we learned a lot about being a physical therapist and the joys of working in the field.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, Tiberius.
No problem. Do you mind giving your social media website again?
Sure. On Instagram, find me at tgibby, Gibby 212.
Okay. Also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Tiberius Show. And I would like to thank WWPR 1490 AM, KNT98, Soul Radio 24/7, EasyWay TV, and all the other stations that air on my show. Please be sure to visit The Tiberius Show on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Tara, are you subscribed yet?
I will be later.
Okay. Tell Isaac to do it as well. He might remember me.
Absolutely.
Oh, and be sure to leave me a comment and tell me if you want to be a physical therapist. Also, be sure to watch next week on The Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.